warm good evening to our viewers. Welcome to the Evening Review Show. I'm your host, Matthias Haufiko. Well, tonight we're joined in studio by the Marketing Communications Manager from the Namibia Qualification Authority, Ms. Lina Ndengu. Good evening and welcome, ma'am.
Good evening, Matthias. Thank you so much for having me this evening.
It's indeed a pleasure to have you in studio tonight. Of course, the NQA is, one of those bodies that are instrumental as far as ensuring that the institutions of higher education are adequately accredited, and just to ensure that the standards are maintained as far as our tertiary education system is concerned. Give us a brief overview on what the industry looks like currently and the work that you do.
Matthias, currently we as a mandate for the NQA, we are responsible for accrediting higher learning institutions, training institutions, as well as organizations that basically offer training in their companies to ensure that they offer quality education, and that this education is these qualifications that they offer are accredited, meaning that it's recognized, it's valid, it's legit, and that if a student has studied at that institution, that they are able to work anywhere in the world, or they are able to go to any other university in the world and they can transfer their credits to that university. One of the mandates that we also do basically is we are responsible for the National Qualifications Framework. The framework basically helps us to ensure that the quality standards in the country are on par with the rest of the world. So if you study an NQF level 4, say in South Africa, it basically is the same level of qualification that you obtained, and we will basically then recognize it as such. Then if you study a level 4 in Namibia, it's the same as the one in South Africa, and you don't have to feel that someone that studied outside the country, their qualification is better than someone that studied in the country.
I'm pretty sure going back and comparing it to today, the number of institutions that you have to deal with has probably proliferated by a greater extent. How is the situation? How does it look in terms of numbers and so on?
What is currently happening in the market is the NCH is responsible for the registration of higher learning institution. When it comes to education, the Professional Health Council is responsible for institutions that offer health-related qualifications for the registration thereof. And the NQA, basically, we're responsible for the accreditation of qualifications as well as the institution. So this is a role played by these industry institutions. But what the NTA does, they are responsible for the TVET aspect of it as well. So basically the 4 of us work together, but at the end of the day, the NQA is responsible for the framework itself, where we manage it, and we're responsible for setting it up as well. And so you'll find that we have, for example, currently we have 69 to 70 institutions that are accredited on our books. But if you look at how many institutions are registered in the country of higher learning, it's hundreds. So it does not match. So that is why we're here today. We want to basically make sure that if we have 100 institutions that are registered for higher learning, then NQA should have 100 institutions that are accredited for higher learning.
So how does the process work? So I can register without being accredited? Shouldn't it be vice versa then?
Basically, the process starts there. You go to BIPA, you register the name, and then you go to the NCH, you register the institution, but you still have to come to the NQA for accreditation. So the onus is on you as the owner of the higher learning institution, that after you have completed your registration process at the NCHE or at the Professional Health Council, you need to come to the NQA and then get your institution accredited.
I'm just asking that just for the benefit of students who might be found having graduated and your qualification means nothing because the institution is not accredited. What avenues do they have to sort of do their own due diligence to say, okay, I'm studying at this institution, is it duly accredited?
Yeah. You know, the NQA, we've been trying to really go out and share information on the importance of studying at an institution that is accredited, and not just the institution, but the qualification that you are studying should also be accredited. Our website basically have a lot of information on that. We also try to share, in fact, we are launching our new website, our new revamped website tomorrow. So then students can go and look at more information on that. And what we also do is a lot of information on our social media pages, where we just try to share. That is why we're running this campaign. You know, call for all unaccredited higher learning institutions in Namibia to come to the NQA. We will not penalize you, but what we will do is we will assess you, or we will basically assist you through the process to help you get to that accreditation status. It's a 3 to 6 months process. All the information is available on our website. You basically can even call us for a consultation, and we will guide you and assist you through this process to ensure that you end up being an accredited institution that offers accredited qualification. Because at the end of the day, what you're currently doing is really bad towards the fellow learners, the students that has enrolled at your institution. You are offering qualifications that holds no value, that is not recognized anywhere. Students cannot secure employment, and that is the situation we're currently sitting with.
Yeah. Based on your groundwork and findings, why would I, as a owner of an institution of higher learning, not get my institution accredited?
You know, I'm not sure whether they think the process is cumbersome, or it's sometimes you'll find, especially institutions that pop up in the beginning of each year, when they know students are vulnerable, and students also don't want to pay higher fees at institutions that are already existing. So you would want to, especially in the rural areas or in the smaller towns, you'll find a lot of higher learning institutions, or a teacher or a nurse just retired, and they feel they're still young and they want to continue. So they come up with this training institution and they start offering these courses in their town. But they I don't know whether they don't do proper research to say that it's not just registering the institution, but there's also the accreditation part of it. So what we're trying to do is basically, we're just trying to create that awareness that registering the institution is not the end of it. There is something more to after that. So it's the onus is on the owner of the institution to basically really just go out there and find all the information, or you can even approach the Ministry of Higher Learning, Higher Education, Training and Innovation to find out, after I've registered my institution, what else am I supposed to do? Because they are supposed to actually, what the METI does is they give a letter as well to that institution to say that, you know, that we recognize this institution, this qualification. So that is also a process that the owner of an institution need to do.
Yeah. So what powers, as far as the law is concerned, does the NQA have if you stumble upon institutions that are practicing and offering qualifications but they're not accredited?
You know, Matthias, that's actually one of the gray areas, or one of the really headaches that we have in the industry, where the NQA, the law, the act basically has not given us a mandate to basically prosecute individuals. I think it's the same with NCHE, NTA. You know, we don't have that mandate. But what we are trying to do right now with this call for, you know, unaccredited institution is, it's because we want to ensure that Namibia produce quality education. We want to ensure that when a student has studied in Namibia and they go look for a job outside the country, they can get employed. So as long as your qualification is accredited, the institution is accredited, their qualifications is recognized outside the country as well. And that is why we're pushing for this. And we're trying to tell you know, owners of higher learning institutions of, put yourself in your shoes. If this is your own daughter studying at an institution that is not accredited, and they come after 3 years to tell you that NQA is telling me my qualification holds no value, it's not recognized. You have wasted resources, you have wasted your time, the child cannot secure employment. If the child is looking for scholarship, they can't get scholarship because NASFAF only funds students that are at institutions that are accredited. So all these things, it's not just one area that get affected, but it's a lot of people that get affected. So if it's for a child, if that is the only child that studied from a home and they went to study, basically that family put all their resources to ensure that this child studies. But at the end of the day, the child can't even say that this is my qualification, because NQA will tell you, unfortunately, you studied at an institution that is not accredited, and this qualification holds no value. It means zero.
Yeah. How many of those are such cases prevalent?
Yes, in fact, we have a lot of those cases. I think, Matthias, also the norm is that those that want to go study think that if you study outside Namibia, the qualifications are better than someone that studies in the country. So you find there's a lot of students that go and study outside the country, but what they don't do is that they don't approach the NQA to find out, is this institution in this country accredited, and is this qualification accredited as well? Because what the NQA also offer is we offer free services where you can find out the status of accreditation of an institution, whether it's in Namibia or outside the country. It takes 7 days, and basically all you need to do is fill in a form. The form is available on our website, or you can basically send an email to our advice, which is with a C, at namqa.org, and find out, is this institution in this specific country accredited? And what the NQA does is we basically contact this country of origin of the institution where you want to study and find out from that qualifications authority, is that institution accredited? Is this specific qualification that our child from Namibia want to go study, is it accredited as well? So we can actually find that information out for you without paying for it.
Yeah. So our students, are they forthcoming as far as finding out on that information is concerned, compared to those who would probably come and find out that the way they studied and that qualification is actually not accredited?
Yes, it's basically 50-50. You do find students that come and find out, is this information available? Is this institution? Basically, we receive lots of emails almost every day as well on those queries of this institution. You will also find even online courses. Sometimes you find you want to do an online diploma. You can also just find out from the NQA, this online diploma from this institution, if I do it online, is it accredited? And we will also be able to give you that information. So yes, we actually get a lot of queries on that, especially online studies that people want to do, those that are already employed. So yes, we actually get that. For students, we actually try and basically we get a lot of invitations for career fairs. We go out and then just try to share this information.
Yeah. What would the NQA ascribe the sudden mushrooming of institution of higher learning in the country? What would you ascribe it to?
I would say one of it is that they know that our students are desperate. Because of the situation where everyone wants to develop themselves, they want to have a qualification, or also you did not qualify to go to the university, so you felt that, okay, maybe at that institution I will be able to then maybe just get a diploma from it. So these are one of the things that basically also lead to students going to these institutions without finding out if it is accredited. I think cost also could be the issue, that you find that these mushrooming institutions are sometimes even cheaper than the normal institutions of higher learning that are accredited. And also I feel, also if you look at, many a times it's in the smaller towns that you'll find that these institutions have popped up, and you'll find that because information is not readily available in the smaller towns, and students, they cannot afford to come to Windhoek to study, they tend to end up studying in those institutions that are in their small towns. And these institutions many a times are not even accredited.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier on that there's quite a paralysis as far as the law is concerned and what NQA can do.
Yes.
When you stumble upon some of these, many people call it bogus institutions.
Yeah.
What would the ideal situation be? What type of mandate and powers would be ideal for NQA to really clamp down on this situation of unaccredited institutions?
I think it all should start with the current processes that we have in place. For example, if an institution registers at the NCHE or at the NTA for TVET or at the Professional Health Council, they should be offered a letter of registration, but there should be a condition that states that if you are not accredited within a certain period after your receiving your letter of registration, then automatically then your registration lapse. I think if we in the industry, the different authorities in the industry can work together and get to that point, I think that is one of the things that can help solve this problem. The second one is when it comes to the law, if we could have the mandate then to open cases against these institutions, because a lot of students really spend a lot of money at these institutions, where you find that I can just open an institution anywhere and I put the NQA logo, the NTA logo, NCHE logo, the Health Professional Council's logo on there, and voila, my institution is running and students are enrolling. But they don't do due diligence to find out, is this institution really accredited? Is it registered? Is it recognized? And these are basically some of the issues that we're sitting with.
Is there any recourse for students in this case if you find out that where you studied the institution is unaccredited?
Unfortunately, what the student can do is open a case against that institution and demand a refund. That can also be then a long process, as you know, the law. It can be a process that can be very long and cumbersome, but unfortunately that is the only option that students basically have.
Okay. Ms. Ndengu, we'll wait for a short commercial break and we'll be back to continue the conversation.
Thank you.
To our viewers, we'll wait for a short break. Stay tuned. Well, we're back from the short break and thank you for staying tuned. Ms. Ndengu, just to continue our conversation, you've mentioned earlier on that most of these unaccredited institutions seem to be lingering around in the smaller towns. And of course, NQA, your headquarters in Windhoek and so on. In terms of taking services out to the people, what is it that NQA is doing in that regard?
What we're currently doing is we try to attend career fairs, we try to attend expos, trade fairs, but you also know that the budget is very limited. We are a non-commercial entity, so we're trying to see how we can basically reach out and see where we can go and share information. But yeah, that's what we're trying to do. And what we're trying to do is, as well as we've decided going forward, we're going to print the booklets with all the accredited institutions after council meeting, and then we'll share it with the different regional councils in all 14 regions, so that they can just share it with the people in their towns or in their areas or in their regions. So that way they can also try and then help us disseminate this information. What we're also trying to do is that our list gets updated every 3 months after every council meeting, to ensure that if you have access to social media, basically access our website, and then you can basically get this updated list every day. It's updated after 3 months, but it's always up to date. You can also search for it yourself on our website with the new features of one of the new features on our website. You can basically put in the name of the institution and find out what courses is accredited for that specific institution. So if it's not on the list and it's in Namibia, then you know it's not accredited. So these are what we're basically trying to do at the moment.
We've also spoken about students studying outside the country. There are new industries coming up. You have the green hydrogen, the oil sector, and so on. So a lot of these players in the industry are sort of busy upskilling their people. Some of them sending them out of the country to go and get experience and benchmark in other areas, other jurisdictions. So as far as accreditation is concerned, what is the NQA's message to some of these institutions and individuals who would go out as they prepare now for this new industry that are emerging in the country?
The NQA's message is basically for whether it's an organization that is sending someone for upskilling out of the country, or whether it's an individual deciding to go study. Contact the NQA, find out first, is that institution where you're going to study accredited? Is that qualification accredited? Because you might go and study and come back, and after you've done a year or two studies, you'll find that that qualification is not recognized in the country of origin where you went to study. Because yes, the world now also know that green hydrogen is the future, oil and gas is the future. So yes, everyone is developing courses in that regard, but it's really for anyone whether you are sending an employee out of the country, to really just do due diligence, contact the NQA. You're not paying for any of that service to find out. And we will basically then contact the Qualifications Authority in that country of origin, and we'll be able to provide you with that information.
Yeah. So in terms of global networking and so on, how synchronized is the system in the qualification framework space?
Basically, you'll find, for example, like in the SADC region, you'll find the framework is the same. You'll find, in fact, in the whole world, if you study an NQF level 6 in Namibia, it's the same as say in the UK also. We look at the unit standards on that, and it's basically the same. And what we do as well on our framework, if you go study at say in the US, we look at the qualifications framework in that country. We look at in conjunction with the Qualifications Authority there. Then we determine on which level that is, because they will then tell us, no, this degree is on level this. And when we look at our unit standard on our framework, we will then be able to determine whether it's on the same level. Sometimes you might find that it's because of the unit standards or of the volume of work that has been put in.
Yeah.
The degree might be a bit higher. It might not be a diploma, but a degree, whilst as in that country it was a diploma.
Yeah. Of course, this campaign that you are running, calling for unaccredited institutions to sort of come and accredit the institutions, some would then ask, what type of assistance would they ordinarily receive from the NQA? If I want to start an institution and get it accredited, what would your role be if I approach you as far as ensuring that I meet the standards? What would your role be in that regard?
What we do basically is we will have a consultation with you. We will then share the information on the process of accreditation. And it's you should also, they should take into consideration, it's not a quick process. It's a 3 to 6 months process, depending on the availability of information from the institution. So what we do basically is that there's a checklist that comes with it, where you as the owner of the institution has to complete the checklist. And what we do is, once we've received the information, we do a desk evaluation, and then we'll come out, we contact the subject matter experts in the industry. We call them our SMEs, and then with our SMEs, then we go out into your institution, and then we do a total evaluation of the institution, the infrastructure, the management, corporate governance. We look at the equipment, we look at the course outline, the course content, and see, is it relevant in the industry? Well, if that subject matter expert will be able to say that, no, if a student finished this course, I'll be able to employ them, or the industry will be able to employ them or not. And this is what the advice that then basically that is what the NQA is doing when it comes to assisting the accreditation, with the accreditation process.
Because we still hear of industry players and employers sort of complaining to say the graduates that are emerging are not quite fit for what the industry is looking for. How can some of those things be addressed during this process?
Basically, what we do is NQA, as well as accreditation is offered on a qualification is done for 3 years. And after 3 years, we do a re-accreditation of a specific course as well. So basically, re-accreditation is done for all the courses that you have applied if it was done 3 years ago. And the subject matter expert that we bring in are the ones that's supposed to then inform through an evaluation report, inform the NQA to say that the course content is not relevant anymore, it needs an update, or this is what we want them to incorporate now in the course content, or this is what we want them to have to ensure that these students, after they're done with their qualification, that they'll be able to be taken into the industry.
Yeah. Talk to us about the subject matter experts that you referred to earlier on. What is their role, and who would this ordinarily be? What type of people would this be?
Basically, we have relationships with the different professional bodies, such as the Engineering Council. For example, if we have to go and do an accreditation for a specific course that offers engineering, we will then seek from them experts in the industry, and then they will provide us these experts, and they are the ones that go out and basically do an evaluation of that institution to say they do have the necessary engineering equipment to offer this course or not. Yes, so these are the subject matter experts that we're referring to. So each individual field basically basically. We have subject matter experts, people in the industry that are already have been employed and that has been working in the field, and they will be able to assist the NQA then in saying that, no, this qualification is not up to standard, we need you to upgrade. And what they do with their evaluation report as well, if they feel that the institution is not up to standard, they also put that in their report, and then they'll advise the institution of, we want you to upgrade here, we want you to remove this in the course because it's redundant, we want you to add this new information in your course, and this how the relationship is with our subject matter experts.
Yeah. Okay, the accreditation campaign, for how long would it still be running, and how has the uptake been?
The campaign is running basically up until August, September, because this is also the time where students are also starting to look for universities right now. That is why we're encouraging as well. But now we're also going to, in between the same campaign, we're going to start running a campaign where we're starting to tell students, before you apply, find out, before you register with an institution, find out, is it accredited, is it not? Because so basically these two campaigns will run together, where we just trying to tell students, really just find out.
Yeah.
Don't go and register and after 2 years end up crying because you've wasted your time and your resources. Yeah. Yes, we've been receiving applications coming through, but we feel that there's still a lot that needs to be done, and that is why we're really extensively going out. What we're also going to do now is we're going to go into the different radios in different languages, so that we can try and just alert the people in the rural areas that are listening onto the radio, to say that there is something called accreditation that the NQA is doing, that if your student or your child is going to study at an institution, they need to find out first before they enroll or register at an institution.
Yeah. You did mention the outreach work that you and your colleagues do. How has that been received in the regions?
In fact, very well. The need is there, the demand is there. They're asking for more information, they're asking for more visits to the regions, and unfortunately, like I mentioned, funds is really an issue, but we're really trying to go out there, and what we're going to do is we're going to try and just continue with this space where we're just trying to really just try and attend the different career fairs, the different expos, share information through the regional councils, and sometimes you'll find we get invitations through the regional councils from the education inspectors and officers, and this is how the relationships that we're basically trying to maintain within the different regions in the country, throughout the country.
Yeah. Just as we wrap up, let's talk to us about tomorrow's website launch, and what prompted it, and what it would entail, and what would be different.
You know, that is such an exciting topic, because you know, the website was built in 2014, and we just felt that there were so many new things that we wanted to incorporate. In the past, when you would pull our accreditation list, it's just a whole long list. But now, if you're a student and you want to, you don't know where to go study, say in the country, but you are looking for all the institutions that offer a specific course, say accounting, you will be able to put in a bachelor's of accounting, and and when you click the search button, it will throw out all the institutions that are accredited in Namibia, as well as the accounting courses that they are offering, basically. Or if you're looking for what a specific university or a specific institution is offering, you can put in that name, and it will throw out all the courses that is accredited, that it offers, if it is accredited. And that is one of the exciting things on our website. What we've also done is we've incorporated the hotline, or anonymous line we call it, that if you feel you have a complaint against, say, whether it's an NQA staff member, or you have a complaint against a specific institution that you think it might not have been accredited, you are basically welcome then to do an anonymous reporting on our website. You fill in the details. When you click the send button, it goes to our risk department, and then they will deal with it further, and we will then take it up with its specific institution, or if it's service related, we will then take it up with the individual within the organization.
Yeah. So you have do you have situations whereby an institution is accredited, but the courses or some of the courses they offer are not accredited?
Yes, because as an institution, even if you are accredited, for every course that you introduce, you need to get accreditation for that specific course. So you might have, say, for 2023, had 20 courses that you applied for, and they were all accredited. And in the new year, 2024, you decided to introduce 3 or 4 more courses, but you've not applied for accreditation, that means those 4 are not accredited. So you need to apply for accreditation for those courses.
So the website, would it entail that? Would it allow me to search for the institution, to
Yes.
check its status, and the courses that are accredited?
Definitely. That's what our new website is doing, yes.
Okay. Well, Ms. Ndengu, thank you very much for making time to be with us tonight, and all the best with the launch tomorrow. Enjoy going forward.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much. Well, to our viewers, that's it from the team this evening. See you again tomorrow, same time, same place. Have a pleasant evening.